I think that both sides of politics are politicising the Reserve Bank at the moment, and part of the reason looks to be that we are in difficult economic times. We've got weak growth in the Australian economy at the moment, and the government, I don't think, wants to look internally and think about the consequences of some of its policy decisions that have gone on in the last few years. It sort of wants to play a bit of the blame game and put the attention on the Reserve Bank. And what we've seen from the comments in the past few weeks has basically been to blame the Reserve Bank for some of the weakness in economic conditions that have occurred more recently, and to also blame them for issues like very weak growth, which was confirmed in the June quarter GDP figures last week. There is obviously some dispute between the coalition and the Labor government about potentially the Labor government wanting to stack the board with Labor-appointed board members. However, at the same time, Chalmers has said that he has spoken to Angus Taylor on some occasions to talk about the individual members that would be appointed on a specific interest rate board. So I'm not too sure what's actually going on between the two different sides of politics.
A senior Labor figure has described those within the RBA to the ABC as barbarians and weirdos in the thrall of bizarre groupthink, and the governor as a nutter. Has the criticism against the RBA and those on the board gone too far?
Absolutely, it's gone too far. If you look at how much Australians focus on the Reserve Bank, I think relative to a lot of other countries, we have a lot more focus and almost scrutiny on the Reserve Bank. I think partly it has to do with the fact that households are more leveraged in Australia. We are more bound to those monthly decisions by the Reserve Bank because most consumers borrow in variable mortgage terms or on short-term fixed rates. So we are very much tied to what the Reserve Bank says and does every single month or every single 6 weeks now when it meets. But the Reserve Bank has been doing a good job in setting interest rates for Australia over a number of decades. Yes, it has had mishaps in the last few years, but so has other major central banks around the world. There has been no perfect example of monetary policy settings if you look at the other board structures or the other central banks across our global peers. I think that the Reserve Bank deserves credit for doing a good job.
Can board members reasonably be expected to tune the level of criticism out as they next meet to decide rate settings?
Well, they should. The central bank is meant to be an independent institution from the government, and I mean, it's never going to be completely independent. I think you can see that in many other central banks as well, particularly now in the US with the upcoming US federal election in November. The central bank there has also been politicised. The board members need to focus on setting interest rates for the economy and to not focus on some of the criticisms, I guess, or some of the broader political issues that are going on. We also have to remember that we're going to have a federal election next year, and some of the issues that are going on between the two different sides of politics are in anticipation of that election.
Do you have concerns that politicking is currently undermining the independence of the Reserve Bank?
I don't think it's undermining the independence of the Reserve Bank, but it's sort of an issue that you don't really want the Reserve Bank to have to deal with at a time when it's trying to focus on its main goal of controlling inflation and keeping full employment in the economy. That is the job of the Reserve Bank. That is the job of the policy of the board members on the Reserve Bank. And basically the Reserve Bank has one tool to achieve those goals. So taking attention away from those goals onto some of these more political aspects just sort of seems like a waste of time.
Mousina, terrific to speak to you.
Thank you.